Hello guys, welcome to another awesome video. Today we are going to go over something I found a little bit interesting actually. So, what do we think of cars? I know it's probably not anything that crazy. Oh, and by the way, we're gonna green screen soon, so I know it looks absolutely ugly. That's not even mine. That's like my sister's. But what should we think of cars? What should our position be upon car industry? Because here's the thing. I think we should probably discuss this a bit, like a video, maybe a second one later on in the future. But I thought this would be quite interesting. It's gonna be a fight between the neocons and the new conservatives, I guess. Well, we're old, we're from the paleo-conservative ideals. So I guess we'll call ourselves paleo-conservative. We're just gonna look at two videos. We usually do one, but we'll do two since they're kind of short. We're looking at one. It's going to be PragerU, the War on Cars, 5-minute video. Before we start, I'm just gonna give my quick position and take on it. I think that cars are something that maybe we shouldn't fully ban, but I don't really have faith in cars as a good way of transportation within cities and even suburban. I think there's a lot of problems with cars, and it's not even just based off economics. Most of it's just due to culture. Most of it's due to other factors that I find kind of important to me. We'll discuss a lot more of that in the video, the second video we're going to have soon from Arthur Greenwood, a man who I find pretty awesome. He's pretty based. But yeah, we're just gonna, check this out, react a bit, and, break some points that I find PragerU wrong in. I think our position with the environment is just wrong on how we've been going through, and I think people like Arthur Greenwood and I think we can really fix things up. We can really find a better position on this. Let's just start.
We may be witnessing the death of America's car culture. And it's not dying of old age. People are still buying lots of cars. But there's been a concerted push by government bureaucrats and environmentalists to transform car ownership from a source of pride to a source of guilt. Ever since Henry Ford built the Model T, cars have been central to the American experience. That's because cars are more than just another way to get from point A to point B. They allow us to go wherever we want, whenever we want, with whomever we want. Think about it. With trains, planes, and buses, the routes are planned.
Alright, I think this is the first point I would like to make. So, their first argument is basically, this stuff is planned out. It's kind of like, they're saying it's a little too bureaucratic or whatever. I don't think these are bureaucratic. In fact, I think these ways of transportation are a little bit more communal, which I think actually is pretty good. The biggest advantage with these is, what do they all have in common? You can really have discussion with people. You can really connect with communities much closer. It's much harder to do that in a car. I do believe carpool pickups are really good, efficient, and they should be kind of the priority if we are going to keep cars in cities. It should at least be carpools where you have people grouped together. It also helps with the economy enormously. But that's kind of the secondary to my main point. It's kind of much more communal. You get to be with your community. It's not communist. It's not like everyone's exactly equal and but you're just with a group that you could talk with, you can hang out with. I think one example could just be how everyone is. We drive alone. We're kind of just on our own, not really doing much. What are we really doing? Just driving off. And we could be somewhere where someone's already planning the location for us. Someone already helped set everything up. I guess it's cool to come up with it yourself, but I think if you sit here, you already have the transportation, you plan things out already, so you're already kind of thinking. It's not like everything's just pre-planned and you could just be mindless. You're still pre-planning things, where to go, how to, where to transport, and if cars become useless, well, you don't have to worry about cars, you know what I mean? And then you could just talk with the nice lady on the other side of the bus. Sorry, Arthur, if I'm coughing. The kind of how he talked a bit there.
Schedule is timed. Only cars allow
just copying his arguments.
you to be spontaneous. When you get behind the wheel, you are in control. You are free.
I am free. That's one big problem, freedom. Okay, I said it a little wrong, but I believe that there's an overemphasis on freedom, which it's just so vague. What? Come on, what is freedom anymore? You know, everything's freedom. Like sexual liberation, economic freedom. That's the thing. We gotta stay consistent. And I think just like if there's, we shouldn't be so sexually liberating. It's the same thing with the economy. I think, like in many ways, I think God's freedom is really what we need to go with, not man's freedom.
The very reason people love cars, personal freedom, is also why regulators can't stand them. Government at all levels craves control, and when it comes to your car, they want you off the road. So do the environmentalists with whom they have made common cause. This antagonism toward America's car culture can be traced back to the 1970s. In response to the Arab oil embargo in the early part of that decade, Congress passed the National Fuel Economy Standards for cars and light trucks. These standards, known as CAFE, short for Corporate Average Fuel Economy, forced automakers to increase fuel efficiency.
Isn't that a good thing? If you increase the fuel efficiency and you're forcing companies to, spend more resources in making cars better, I think that's a good thing. We can all agree it's good.
Rather than let the free market decide what kind of cars customers wanted to buy.
Okay, so oh my, that doesn't make sense. I don't really agree with that. So the argument they're trying to make is that you have the free market. The free market chooses if you want to buy a crappy car or not. I guess it'll get more expensive if you want a cheaper car. I guess that's the best I could come up with, but they never said that, so I'm trying to actually help them out here. My response to that is that I think making things more efficient, making things more safe, making things a lot more, better for the consumer, I think would actually be much better. I don't really agree that you should just leave it off to the free market, as we know that, you can't just have free market this, free market that. It really doesn't work like that. Sometimes you kind of need to put a tariff or some kind of limitation, some kind of, way of protecting. Right, we're protecting people. That's kind of the whole point the law was supposed to be passed. Because if cars are not efficient, you're going to have dangerous things. And I don't want to get hurt. I don't want my family getting hurt if some idiot buys some cheap car from, manufactured in, Mexico or China. And it could be dangerous to the road areas. It could cause damage. I'd rather want efficiency than just, everything being cheap. That's like saying, I just want everything around my house to be cheap. I want my house to just be the cheapest ever. It might break, but, it might. That doesn't make sense.
The government decided to do the dictating. Their regulations have cost car companies and consumers many billions of dollars. But in the last decade or so, the government's heavy hand has come down harder than ever. Beginning in 2009, the Obama administration sought to dramatically increase CAFE requirements. These Obama-era standards make cars more expensive, around $4,000 per new vehicle, according to economists Salim Firth and David Kreutzer. This prices millions of middle-class families out of the new car market. The regulations also encourage the production of smaller, lighter cars that are generally less safe than larger, heavier ones. The laws of...
Okay, let's respond to that. One, I don't agree with everything Obama does. I think Obama is, he's Obama. But I just mean, if we're, the whole point is things like protecting the environment, which my take for this part is that, yeah, I can kind of agree that if you're making, but here's the thing, you're trying to be able to make cars better. If you're trying to make cars better, that's the whole point of the CAFE method. I don't know how you're making it, cheaper, weaker, not bigger and heavier. By the way, bigger and heavier cars tend to kill more people, so there's that. We're not trying to make them bigger and heavier, we're trying to make them cars that work. So, it doesn't matter if they're a little lighter. If they can be able to efficiently be able to drive around, which is the whole point of the CAFE method. I'm not criticizing, I'm not here to try and criticize, the method. Because, the method can be talked about, but I'm saying, the concept, and the draft, the theory. in practicality, it could work. I don't really think Democrats usually do it well, but, I think, if done well, it could really be able to make things better. How I see it, I don't really think this is really a war on cars. This is some stuff that I would say are just standards. I think we all need standards in our society and economics. Having a good standard. I believe in like having a better kind of quality kind of vehicles with higher efficiency. I think that would be best. And it's not like raising these prices is not really the craziest part. Most of the middle class Americans, they're living on more like suburban lives. If we really want to help them, we could, I don't know, like cut taxes for those people, for the middle class. But what did Bush do? What did most of these people do? They do not cut taxes for these people. They mostly cut taxes for higher people in the economy because, they're going to drive the economy. Meanwhile, the middle class and poor kind of just suffer a little bit more. I just mean, you don't have to go with what the highest level will be. Like, you can help out the little guy. Why can't we help out some of these people who have been suffering? If only we could help them, I think it would definitely make things economically better. We could definitely be able to make them be able to become good consumers, have good purchasing power. Just saying, it feels like you're attacking something that can be really efficient, helpful. I love cutting taxes for the poor and middle class. Why can't we do that? That's a good compromise, but I feel like the Democrats, most of them aren't really like, they raise taxes on everybody, and they can be really idiotic. When they say the rich, they do it to everyone. And then when you cut taxes on the Republican, mostly neocon side, they're not cutting taxes for the people that actually are the majority. They're cutting taxes for people who are usually more of like a little minority, but they produce more for the economy usually. I don't really want to prioritize them. Sure, they maybe make more money, but like, it's Facebook.
Physics are tough to argue with. To make matters worse, the new CAFE standards push automakers to produce more electric cars. A lose-lose for consumers and, ironically, the environment as well. Consumers lose because, according to a study from the consulting firm Arthur D. Little, electric vehicles cost significantly more to operate over their lifetime than comparable gasoline-powered cars.
Yeah, I would actually agree to something like that. I would say that I don't really want purely electric cars. I think they're a good alternative, though. I would like to put more of the coal and oil fields, like, for that stuff. Like, I'm not purely crazy on the environment. I think coal and oil are good resources that we can use. My concern is just, one, I don't like giant amount of parking areas. If we can limit cars in general, mostly in the cities, we could be able to have, like, one, we can have way more land to use for housing, and, we can solve a lot of the housing crisis that's going on. And two, it's like, it's not even about electric versus gas, it's just about the cars in general. Anyways.
Around $20,000 more. And the environment loses because electric vehicles produce 3 times as much toxic pollution as gas-powered ones when you factor in the mining of rare earth minerals that electric car batteries require. And this doesn't include the environmental consequences involved in ultimately disposing of these batteries. Adding insult to injury, a typical electric car gets fewer than 100 miles per charge and can take 4 to 8 hours to fully charge the battery. So much for the freedom of the open road. Maybe that explains why consumers have shown scant interest in these cars, despite hefty government subsidies and privileges. Still, the regulator.
I think their main point is that the government's bad, forcing this stuff upon everyone. But it's like, at least they're doing something with the government, that's the thing. Why can't we use the government for, pushing things that we like, that we think would be better for everyone? They just, like, are about, like, the free market, but, like, what if the free market doesn't, doesn't really go with the actual rational thing, right? They're, like, guilted and, pressured into buying the electric cars, which you disagree with. I just mean, like, if you know it's gonna be bad, and then the people in California are like getting that stuff, it's just like, I don't know. You kind of get yourself taken down there. And also it's like, again, it's not really about the electric or gas. That's not really like what we should really be looking into. I think What we actually need to focus on is the limitation of cars just because of many other reasons.
Bureaucrats, and environmentalists persist. Urban planners are adding bike lanes, reducing parking spots, and pouring billions into more public transportation.
Hey!
All to get
Based!
people out of their cars.
Based! Okay, I like that. That's the only thing.
Former Boston Mayor Tom Menino once declared, "The car is no longer king," before banning all cars in a popular downtown shopping district. Arlington, Virginia.
Yeah, and those places, they look beautiful. Most areas, like in the areas where they actually like put more resources in fixing up, they actually look really nice. You know?
Suburb of DC, actually encourages people to adopt a car-free diet and live in one of the county's urban villages. Seattle, meanwhile,
Okay, let's look at this for one moment. What is the emphasis with these pictures? It looks like they're putting more emphasis on big, beautiful trees. I mean, like, how I see it, I think trees are, like, they make the cities look a lot better. One of the biggest problems with cities is they look ugly. They look absolutely ugly. Let's look at a picture of, like, Oakland or, somewhere where there's barely any trees in life versus Arlington where, guess what? They show trees, they actually care a lot of, like, the natural beauty around, and it helps the detail of the cities, even though the buildings look kind of crappy. It's like the forest and details make it look so nice. Look at DC. Look at DC, man. It's DC, but with all the trees and natural beauty, it makes it look so nice. It makes it look a lot better. And then look at Oakland. Here we go. This is a good picture. This is Oakland. You have this area that looks kind of nice. And then look at this. This entire area. And then all around here, what do you see? What do you see around these areas? It's just a bunch of parking lots. It's just a bunch of parking spaces and, a bunch of, confined areas. It doesn't help with detail. It just makes it look a lot less pretty. This area is really nice, and with the lake, it just it contrasts really nicely. And then when you look here, it's way better. Cities look a lot more beautiful with forests around. I mean, have you seen Munich, Germany, or look at Warsaw, look at Rome? I'm going to Italy soon, so let's actually look up Rome. Here we go. So look at Rome for a moment here. Big, beautiful forests. They have the care for the environment around them, but it's not about environmentalism. It's about God's natural beauty mixed with urban life. It just looks a lot better. I love living rural because it's so beautiful. Even though I live in not really the most beautiful of areas, it's still really nice because there's just so much green beauty around. And especially when you live in the shore. Why do people live in the shorelines? Because it looks amazing. The ocean, when you look at the ocean, you look calm. You feel calm. You feel nice. If it were just all parking lots, let's just say it wouldn't look as nice. Alright, I said what I needed to say.
Plans to aggressively discourage driving by limiting parking spots, even though cars are an unavoidable part of work and life for most people, according to this.
Oh, isn't it also weird that Washington's population is not it's not declining. Oregon went up a bit, yeah, to be fair, the cities are really but to be fair, that's mostly coming from the drugs. If you remove the drugs, these cities are actually really nice. It's just they're so drug infested.
The Seattle Times. Time will tell if these regulations and strategies will work. Americans are explorers. We value our independence, and we've never been good at staying put or being told where to go and at what time. Maybe that's why, despite the government's best laid plan.
Yeah, except when Lewis and Clark were given, they were said, go wherever you need to go. We're gonna supply. We're gonna help you out. When they explored, when many people explored and went out west, they had a lot of state and government directions and help. We work together. It's about working together. It's not about you just do everything on your own.
Sales of trucks and SUVs are breaking records as low gasoline prices inspire people to drive more.
Before the whole Russian gas stuff, the economy's just doing horrible. But this would not have happened. Would have been way better, man. Would have been way better if we actually focused on solving the problem before the problem started.
Bigger vehicles. Why shouldn't they? Personal car ownership is part of America's fabric. It brings people together and makes this big country of ours seem a little smaller and more free. America's car culture isn't dead yet. So as long as Americans still want to live in the land of the free, America's car culture will never die. I'm Lauren Fix for Prager University.
Okay, now that we got done with that cringe, I guess my final statement on the problem Prager review there, when it comes to the car argument, is that it's not something about American freedom. They're trying to make it into one, but they mess up horribly, because it's not about American freedom or freedom. What it's really about is, like, how are we gonna really direct our cities? How are we gonna direct their urban life? Because rural, definitely, you need cars, 100%, right? Electric cars are really, like, dumb idea in the rural life. Suburb, I don't know for sure yet. Urban, definitely. I think urban cities, they look nicer, they look cleaner, they look beautiful when you add a lot of forest, you keep the natural beauty, you know. Where was God born? Or Jesus born? Where was Jesus born? Jesus was born in a really nice, small, little shed area, right? Like, where all the animals were, really nice, beautiful area. It wasn't born in, like, a giant area. He was born in, like, a nice little area in Bethlehem. And sometimes it's about the simple life. Look at Tolkien. Tolkien, how he depicted the Industrial Revolution around the time. It was like, you gotta be careful how far you go, because there's a beautiful, like, landscape around us, and if we destroy it all, then, like, what have we really done to ourselves, you know? Because it's part of us, you know? Nature's a part of humans. It was there in the beginning, right? We were set to take care of them from the time of Adam and Eve, right? They were set to take care of the farms, not farm, but the forest, the area, until they ate the apple. They broke God's law. But you see what I mean? Nature and humans have always been interconnected together since the beginning of time. And it's a shame when we, you know, prioritize, you know, this idea of, like, freedom over, you know, a lot of things I would say, like, would be what God would approve on, you know, things like on nature and beauty, over really, like, a capitalistic end that, with expectations that we probably would not meet. That's kind of just my own take. And now we're gonna, you know, watch a really cool video I saw, Arthur Greenwood. So, the conservative case for Carless cities. Let's see. It's just 4 minutes. Really nice. I highly recommend his channel. I'll link him. Go subscribe. He's awesome.
You've noticed it too. Our great American cities are dying. They feel gray and empty, don't they? There's no community. There's no beauty. What happened? I genuinely believe that cars have ruined American society. If we look around, we see that modernity is degenerate. Nobody goes outside anymore. Everyone's fat and addicted to porn. Young men are atomized and lonely. Walkable cities will literally save our country. People are depressed and lonely because if you want to see people, you literally have to drive 15 minutes and go to some lame strip mall. Imagine instead you lived in a beautiful carless city and you step outside and there's trees and birds and kids playing in the streets. You're literally a 5-minute walk from the grocery store and there's little shops and parks, and every day you take the train and get in a little conversation with the old lady next to you, maybe say hi.
Yeah, I know I copied there a bit, but you know what I really like about this is the storytelling, the kind of detail he puts into his videos. Like, it's just really awesome. He, like, puts such a lot of great arguments in just 4 minutes. I think my only complaint is I think you should make your videos a little longer. Just not really because of my preference. It's also because YouTube usually likes longer videos, so that's my recommendation. I've studied a bit on YouTube algorithm a bit because I was, like, wanting to blow up. I know YouTube likes the when you hit the double roll ad, so they kind of like recommend like a 10-minute. That's usually what YouTube likes. You do you though.
Hi to that cute girl. I truly think if we had carless cities,
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
male suicide would drop to almost nothing. Be honest with yourself. It would be kind of good for you if you had to ride the train and make eye contact and talk to people. Most people today, especially young men, desperately need to enhance their social skills and make friends and gain confidence. Maybe you're thinking, no, that's too much. I don't want to be around people all the time. That's okay. You're totally free to live out in the country. In fact, land will be a lot cheaper because the cities are much more compact.
Yeah.
But deep down,
Here's the biggest problem with compacted cities. It might make it more like how Europe's absolutely beautiful, but the problem is the cities can be really dense, making them a little bit more liberal. I think the solve of the problem is just, well, I don't think however dense you can make America, it's still like gonna always be mostly rural. In fact, making it more dense actually could be a positive effect in some ways because like you get a city, and if you close it in a little bit better, you actually might be able to put have like a lot more land that it could be suburban or even rural. And as long as you kind of keep the nation running, like the suburban areas will be on your side, and you'll always have that kind of advantage. And the city areas, if you make the cities amazing, like you're gonna be beloved. It's not like they're really gonna always stick with liberalism. You see cities. There's some cities that vote for conservative things. I mean, it's kind of rare nowadays, but you saw it throughout America's history. Like stuff like that can be fixed. But I think it starts first with fixing the country before we get into stuff like that. I think once just fixing up the economy a bit, because if you really fix up the economy first, that you can really solve a very large chunk of the problems. And then you can kind of then we could be talking about how to deal with all these other problems. That's just how I see it, though.
most people are lonely. That's why people love college so much, because you're literally living in a walkable city, and
I can't wait to go to college, bro. That'll be cool.
Your friends every day. We as humans are social creatures, and we're meant to be around our tribe.
Bro, like cars cost so much money. Have you seen? Just small rant. I don't want to go too long, but like cars are really expensive, man. I tried to get like this cheap car that was already rented. That would cost everything I made through selling cookies. That's right. Like I'm my own little business person. I would just go around sell cookies. I made like a few $1,000s. I would need to make like a whole year of college to pay for like a normal car, which is just shocking and insane. Like it was like I had like cheaper cars be like $5,000, $6,000, and then just the decent actual cars would be like almost $20,000. I was like, what the hell, man? It's really gotten out of hand.
Obviously, we still need cars for some things. Plumbers and repairmen need their trucks. And if you live out in the country, you'll still need a car. The point is not to ban cars. The point is to give people options. So if you live in the city, you don't need to spend money on gas and insurance. You can just take the train. Of course, you are still paying taxes to fund the train, but it's so much more efficient, and we don't have to constantly repair the highways, so you end up saving a lot of money.
Bro, have you seen how many people die from car wrecks? Every day when I'm walking through school, or maybe not like walking, when I'm like in the car with my parents, I see a car wreck. It happens so many times. It's truly shocking that it just happens that much. We have like arrests. I mean, even like when I was walking back from school, I saw like someone do something illegal. I don't know what it was, but the cop came to write a ticket.
There's no more car wrecks. Every once in a while you have some freak accident, but not the constant wrecks and destruction you get when there's dozens of cars zipping past.
And by the way, it's been way worse because like, little tickets, not that much, but like I've seen cars just get absolutely destroyed. I think I even saw one on fire at one point.
Each other all day long. That's no laughing matter. Car wrecks kill thousands of people every year. Not to mention all the mutilations and disfigurements that could so easily be avoided, or the untold millions of dollars down the drain from
so
fender
much
benders
damage.
and little wrecks that are just a normal part of life. But it's not just about economics. We need beauty in our lives. And when we spend our days in traffic and our cities are cluttered with huge, ugly parking lots, that does something to us. There's a reason these old European cities are so beautiful. They're made for people, not for cars. There are some people who legitimately love driving, but for
Biden.
most of us, the commute gets kind of miserable. Of course, public transportation also sucks right now because it's not well funded and there's homeless people and stuff, but in my world, we'd have high-speed rail and it's clean and luxurious and everyone uses it. So there's businessmen and chefs and all kinds of interesting people. Great way to meet girls, too. God bless America.
Yeah, literally, when he says that, you get like how many views? 1.1K. This is the exact reason why. This is the reason why the video blew up so much. Just because he mentioned, oh yeah, you'll be able to find girls a little better. Yeah, I really like this video. The guy's pretty cool. Yeah. Wait, why does he look like him? Okay, anyways, moving on. I think, bro, like, it's pretty cool. I like the idea that changing it to much more high-speed rail, we go back to, like, this kind of idea of public transportation. By the way, we've always done that throughout history. I mean, like, look at it throughout history. Maybe other than, like, horses, but even then you have, like, a lot of carriages where they would have, like, higher groups of people. But look at trains. Trains are amazing. They, everyone gets together. It was really nice. It was very communal. It was the Victorian era. It was absolutely beautiful, right? And it was just amazing, right? And like, see like how trains became highly demanded. People loved trains. It was so efficient, so amazing. Then we had, horses slowly died off, which I think horses, they could be pretty cool to ride on. It'd be nice to ride horses in some areas, but I wouldn't expect them to be the norm. Bikes were amazing. You could ride your bike. I think they're pretty cool, and they're a lot less expensive. Riding them around the city, like a city area, would be really cool. And especially, like, the whole idea of, like, really seeing the, shaping the beauty of cities, fixing the cities up, because cities, the problem is, there's no one they look to. Most of the neocons are not really trying to help out the cities. They leave a lot of poverty there, a lot of problems there, and then they just get a chart and says, the chart says that, like, look, a lot's going down, poverty's going down, but they're looking at world poverty. Maybe other countries are doing better, but, like, we're getting worse. We're struggling here. And, that doesn't mean we can't have, like, sub-level, capital ideals, but I think now is the time when we stop, focusing on these ideas, which I call, they're human. They were made by humans and human theory. God's theory is that we help out the poor, we help our neighbors, and we really create something efficient with one another, and I think it starts with building strong communities, uniting people again. People are so split up. When you're in a car, you're just there. What do you do with your life? You just drive your car. You spend like 30 minutes getting through traffic, and when you get to the next area, you're just like, what are you really doing? Working these long hours, and it's just at some point people just want change. And yeah, I guess that's the end. Thank you so much for watching this video. I kind of trying to change up the editing style because I don't know. I think it's fun to experiment. Check out Arthur Greenwood. Pretty cool channel. I'll see you guys later. Bennett out.